What's going on, Niner fam? And this is Peter Lucas, and I got my boy Mike with me today. And this is the Niner Fanatic Podcast. Back after a small hiatus. I was off last week because had to spend time with the family and do a spring break trip. But we're going to talk today, about this offseason, the crazy offseason that we've had so far in 49ers. I think there's been a lot of expectations, a lot of just a lot of unknowns, but let let me introduce my guy Mike first. Mike, how you doing today? And I'm so happy to have you on.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me. Just came back to the Twitter space about a week ago, and you know, I'm I'm happy to share my thoughts and my reactions to all the off-season stuff. So let's get going, man.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, of course, I don't think we can start any off-season 49er talk without talking about the Jimmy situation and why he's still on the team. I think all of us are a little frustrated by all of it. I'm not. I'm frustrated, but I'm not as jumping off a bridge as a lot of people out there on Twitter about it. But how do you feel about it? And do you think that whose fault do you think it is? First of all,
Well, that's a loaded question. So I feel like we need to start with just the facts. So a week before free agency started, Jimmy decides he wants to get surgery when Niner fans were told he might not necessarily need surgery. And so, we thought he was going to either be traded or he was going to be released, being released less likely. Then that didn't happen. So, fast forward to today. Um, our team's really going to trade for a injured quarterback. I know it's not on his throwing shoulder, but I think a lot of fans are seeing all this movement. I mean, this is the craziest. I'm 43 years old, man. I've been a Niner fan since the 80s. So,
I'm
uh,
44. So
all right. So I have never seen an offseason like this in my life. Previously, the last couple of years, in my opinion, the NFC West was the toughest division in football. Now, I feel like the AFC West is like Avengers Assembled. Like I've never seen anything like that in my life.
yeah,
Russell goes over there, and you got good quarterbacks at every level. Uh, Possibly three, maybe even if they're lucky, four teams could make it to the playoffs just in that one division alone. And so so back to Jimmy. I feel like I feel like maybe Jimmy decided to do the surgery right before free agency started to, I don't know, maybe extend his no trade clause and maybe get healthy and see who's left and maybe take back the power. I
yeah,
guess in his situation, it sucks because Niner fans want to know why we should be using this money to get other free agents, and we have a lot of holes. We picked up Javarius Ward, a very good press man corner.
yeah,
We got a bunch of special teams guys, really good ones. And what's his name? George Odom
yeah,
from the Colts, a safety who could potentially be a starting safety if Tart isn't brought back, or if they don't draft a starter who immediately starts in the draft. He
yeah,
could start next to Ward, and so I feel like, and then you get the John Lynch came out recently and said that, yeah, kind of sort of, that Jimmy's money is really holding us up from signing free agents. Now, do I
yeah,
think we wouldn't necessarily signed like a J.C. Jackson or made a trade for one of these bigger name receivers? I mean, you got guys like Tyreek Hill moving, Devontae Adams. I mean, it's just been one huge blockbuster after another. I feel like the
yeah,
NFL has taken a page out of baseball with all these trades. I've never seen so many trades in the NFL in my life, at least not this early in the season. Um, so, yeah, it's frustrating. I
yeah,
can understand the frustration, but then I also realize it is March, and you don't have to fill out the roster in March. You still have the draft, and to the Niners' benefit, in my opinion, the draft is not very good at quarterback, not very deep,
yeah,
not a good draft class at all. So that could benefit the Niners during the draft. I could see them moving him the first day for possibly a day 3 pick, a third, fourth, fifth, whatever you think Jimmy's value is. I'm not going to speculate. I know there's a lot of rumors out there that he could have went as high as the number 11 pick with Washington, or he could have went for 2 twos, or whatever you think Jimmy might be worth. But
yeah. Yeah, I think he's I said from the beginning I thought he was maybe a fourth to fifth round pick. I don't think that I thought that was always his worth. I was shocked when I heard that Washington was going to give up 2 twos for him, and of course, and that's part of the reason why I kind of blame Jimmy for this whole situation. You got to blame Lynch somewhat because they gave him a no trade clause, but I still blame Jimmy for this situation because Washington gave us those 2 twos on a silver platter, and I feel like Jimmy he nixed. The rumor was that he just nixed the trade, and then I think after that you have to blame Lynch because I think he did have something going with Indianapolis, but I think he just wanted that same value, and Indy wasn't willing to give it to him. So it's just a frustrating situation for Niner fans. Do I think they still move him? I still think that they end up moving him for peanuts, and I think that they have to. They have no choice. It came out today. I think it was today or last night that they've already told Trey Lance that he is the guy, and that he will be starting next season. So it's not a question of if they are going to get rid of him, it's when. And
I heard his shoulder surgery, the timetable for recovery is 12 weeks. So, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that puts his recovery and him throwing a football around June, maybe mid-June, possibly even early July. That's still not preseason yet. So we could see Jimmy getting moved during the draft. We could see them waiting until he's healthy. Because is anybody really going to trade for a hurt quarterback? Probably not, especially if there's a setback, especially if he's going to be your guy. It's not like you're just trading for a backup, know. It's not like you're trading for a guy who's going to get one year, $1 million. You can cut him with an injury settlement if it doesn't pan out. This is going to be someone's guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So you wait till he's healthy and he doesn't have a setback. So
yeah. No, and I mean, just like you said, it's going to be, there's a timetable for when he's going to come back. From what I've heard, that he's going to be back in time for training camp for whatever team he's on. I'm hoping that's not the 49ers because I mean, we don't need him even in the building. There's a lot of people that think that the locker room is really Jimmy's still right now. And I just don't think they need him anywhere near the locker room. I don't want him anywhere near the guys for there even to be a question in Trey's mind if he has the locker room. So it's because Trey I think he's supremely talented, and I'm really excited about his maturation for this season. Like I thought we saw flashes last season, and I think that with a full offseason, full OTA, full training camp, he's gonna be something that all the national pundits are gonna have to eat their words. And it's gonna be good. It's gonna be lovely to see after this all the confusion is over and done with.
Yeah, especially for Lance's case, not having a guy who could potentially start and play and win games, because Jimmy has started here, he's played and he's won games. And the simple fact is, let's say Trey Lance goes out and Jimmy's forget the money. Let's say Jimmy's the backup and Lance goes out there and he struggles. The first thing fans or anybody's really going to do, even the media, is going to be like, well, maybe he isn't ready, like we said. So maybe let's put Jimmy back in, who can win games for us. Maybe not all on his shoulders, obviously. And let's wait, maybe another year or, another 6-8 games or whatever it is until he is ready, and then put him in. Having that guy breathing down your neck,
who doesn't bode well.
It's awkward. And no offense to the fans, but I know how it is when Jimmy throws one interception, it's like, get out of here. Well, what do you think they're going to do with Trey Lance? If he throws a pick in the first game, they're going to be like, well, he's not ready. Or if he throws a high ball, like everybody loves, making fun of Jimmy because he throws a ball a little too high. Well, what if he does some of those same things? Well, he's also a first-year starter. He's technically a rookie in playing time. Second year, obviously, since he sat on the bench all year last year. But you got to give this kid some time because, like you said, you mentioned it already, he's got all the physical tools. That one throw that he threw to Debo in the Texas game, just that's something Jimmy has never done.
Yeah,
he's never been able to throw a ball like that.
I go back to that throw that he made and I don't remember which team it was. It
Was
might
it
have been
Chiefs
the
game?
Arizona game where like it was to Ayuk and like the defender is like draped on top of Ayuk and he's catching it towards the sideline, and it was just a dime, and right then was when I was like, okay, because it was to the boundary where Jimmy never goes.
Right.
He doesn't like throwing to the boundary because I mean he just kind of floats the ball out there a lot. But I'm just excited to have some athleticism at the position and to have a cannon at the position. I'm so tired of watching those balls float to the sideline. And do I appreciate the wins and all the other stuff? I appreciate the fact that they were able to figure out a way to win with Jimmy. But I mean, realistically speaking, he was the reason we were a couple of good throws away from a Super Bowl. We were a couple of good throws away from the Super Bowl this year.
Oh yeah.
Like, and so it's just I'm ready to see something else. That's all.
I think everybody's ready to see something else. So it's trade time, and let's hope Jimmy's somewhere else by the time training camp starts.
Yeah, for sure. So with the free agents, let's talk a little bit about the free agents that we lost and the additions made, because I haven't had a show since free agency started because I took last week off. But the losses that we had, we lost K1, we lost Lakin, lost Mostert, lost DJ Jones, lost Compton, lost Sherfield, Contavious Street, River Craycraft, and Cannon. Which do you think of those is going to be the most important of those? Is going to be the most important glaring loss for us?
I'm going to say right off the top, it's Lincoln Tomlinson.
Yeah.
Simply because do we know what we have in Aaron Banks? No, we don't.
Nope.
Aaron Banks was drafted last year in the second round. He's basically the body double of Lincoln Tomlinson, 6'3", 325 pounds. They tried to groom him for right guard last year, and it just didn't work out. He's a natural left guard player. He played that in Notre Dame. So I'm sure the organization and the fans want him to play whatever's the most comfortable. So you're going to see him at left guard next to Trent Williams, and hopefully having a guy on your left like Trent Williams, who's a monster and a really smart, probably one of the best centers in the league, and Alex Mack, that is going to be something that he can ease into his progression at the position. And, it's boom or bust for him at this point. The Niners are a Super Bowl team, or at least most fans want to believe that. So he's got to come out swinging. He's got to come out aggressive. He's got to have a nasty streak to him. And he's got to know that, hey, this is my spot, and nobody's going to take it from me. Yeah. And I know I have big shoes to fill. Because let's be honest, over the last 5 years with Lincoln Tomlinson here, he's like the invisible Niner, man. Like nobody noticed him because he was just so consistent.
Steady. Yeah, just steady.
Wasn't giving up sack after sack after sack or anything like that. He was just the guy that did his job. And you're like, Lincoln Tomlinson, I forgot he was on the team. The guy's been 4 years. He hasn't missed a game. 5 years now, hasn't missed a game. He's just Mr. Consistent. So, that's a tough replace, man. So
yeah, for sure.
He does have a lot of ground to cover really quickly. So hopefully he can maturate and get to it just like Wentz needs to. So this team can realize that Super Bowl potential that we all think we have. And then as far as DJ Jones goes, he's probably the second biggest loss that we had. I love DJ Jones. DJ Jones is a great player. He's been here 5 years. Unfortunately, he's had he's got an injury history. So hopefully he can go to Denver and stay healthy and be just as productive and earn that raise that he got. But also,
I was shocked. I was shocked he made it all the way through this last season without getting hurt. Like he played every snap, and it was. I was really happy for him.
Yeah, he got Niners never paid him more than $2 million, so he got a 500% raise this year, man. He deserves it.
Always good.
He took his contract year and he ran with it, man. He played the best ball he's ever played, and I don't knock him for leaving and wanting money and wanting to get that big paycheck. Good for him, But I feel like, especially with Javon Kinlaw coming back with two good this time, which, in my opinion, they kind of mishandled him. They probably should have let him get his knee right in his rookie year, but they wanted some production from him year one because, of course, they lost to Forrest Buckner in that trade.
Yeah.
So if Kinlaw can step in and do what we think he can do, the guy, he's huge. He's a monster. He's 6'5", a 325, big dude, run stuffer, quick as a cat. One of the quickest defensive tackles I've seen almost ever. I mean, he's not Aaron Donald, but the guy can, for as big as he is, he can move. And I'm excited for him. He's I know Nick Bosa should have won Comeback Player of the Year, but I feel like if he can put together a full healthy season, he could definitely you could definitely put him in the Comeback Player of the Year race. Because
for sure,
him, but I really like his upside, and so those are the two guys I think are going to have the biggest impact on losses. But I think the Niners kind of predicted this with the drafting of Aaron Banks to replace Lincoln, and I mean, with Chris Kuceric, you can pretty much plug and play at that spot. I mean, we're 11 deep there. I mean, we signed Hassan Ridgeway, who looks like another quick, fast, get up the field type. So, is he going to be DJ Jones right away? Probably not.
Yeah.
Off the bench. But who is? DJ was one of the best finds that we ever had. I don't remember what round we drafted him in, but he's just another one of those late round guys, those try-hard guys that just never quit. If it wasn't for injuries, we probably would have paid him a long time ago.
Yeah, I think he was sixth round. I think he was sixth round, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like, I completely agree with you. Lakin, I mean, I think we all saw it coming with Lakin. They when they drafted Banks last season, I thought that they were going to draft a guard. I knew they were going to have to draft a guard. Yeah. I was pretty surprised at the Banks pick because I didn't think that he fit the system at all. And I think a lot of the beat writers and the podcasters were surprised at that pick also. And then what made me angry at the front office about the pick was that they tried to sell us a bill of goods by telling us that they showed us some stat about how he was good at zone reads statistically. And I mean, come on, the guy. I mean, all you had to do was look at the tape and see that the guy was not a zone blocking guard. So
right.
And I thought that they needed to bring in last year. I thought they needed to bring in somebody that they could groom under Mac, like to eventually become the center. I thought they should have done that last year, but yeah, it is what it is. We're here now, but like Lakin, like obviously Banks is there to replace Lakin. Hopefully it happens, and they don't have to end up pulling him for one of the other guys like McKivitz or somebody. But even though McKivitz actually showed flashes last season, which I was surprised to even see him on the field. But yeah, Lakin, I was really happy that he got his money because, like you said, he was the invisible man. But usually when you're talking about the offensive line, you want to be invisible. You don't want them talking about you.
Exactly.
So it was
touchdowns, not sacks.
Exactly.
Not fumbles by your quarterback. Your offensive line is Swiss cheese for sure.
For sure. And then DJ, the guy played so well every time he got a chance to play, but he was always injured, like you were talking about. And I'm on the same page with you as far as Kinlaw goes. I think that the guy is a supreme talent. I thought they should have made sure that he was fully healthy before they got him back on the field. If he can be healthy, I think that he is going to be a monster in the middle. Because now you're going to have I think the biggest issue that the 49ers had was the biggest decision they made last year was moving Eric Armstead inside and making him just a tackle. Like that was what they should have been doing with him all along. And I think we've all been saying it for a couple of years now. And so it was good to see that them move him inside. If they had done that on Kinlaw's rookie year, he probably wouldn't have had the injury issues in the middle of the season like he had, because they could have like meshed, like kind of mixed him in. But it is what it is now. I think that him and Eric Armstead are going to be a force in the middle, and then I think we get Kerry Hyder back, and we're going to talk about the guys that we added. But I think that that is a sneaky big signing just because of what he had 8.5 sacks with us with no Bosa on the other side.
55 pressures, 8.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Best he's ever had. The only other season he had that was good was with Detroit, with Chris Kusarek as his defense.
Exactly. And just like you said earlier, Chris Kusarek is, I think that people underestimate the effect that he has on any defensive lineman that he touches. So they just need to bring in. I have no problem when I hear them bringing guys in off the scrap heap that are talented, but that just are cast-offs because they didn't work out on other teams. But because Chris Kusarek is going to make it work. He always finds a way to make it work. And I think that D'Amico Ryans has done an excellent job of kind of mixing them in and getting the most out of the group and not really having to blitz a lot, all that kind of stuff. So I think with the 49er coaching staff, it's going DJ Jones as much as I think we will miss him from a sentimental side. I don't know that we'll if Kinlaw does his job, I don't know that we'll actually miss him. But Lakin, I think we will miss him because I think Aaron Banks is going to have some struggles early on. At least we'll see them in the preseason.
Yeah.
But they did make him lose some weight so that he could be a little bit more nimble. So I was happy to see that. And but we'll see if it has really any effect on it, because I know when they did that with McGlinchey, it didn't really work out so well. He lost a lot of strength, and then he started getting pushed around, and then he had to gain the weight back. So
yeah, exactly.
But the additions that they had, like you were saying, we got the Odom from Indy. We got Javarius Ward, Kerry Hyder, like I was just talking about. Ray McLeod, which I'm really excited about, probably more so than most 49er fans. Ridgeway, we talked about. They got Oren Burks, another special teamer from Green Bay, and Kadar Holman. And then they got another guy today, and I'm trying to remember what his name is. I didn't get a chance to write it down.
Denard was the guy they had.
Denard. So another DB. And
Dante Johnson, don't remember.
Who?
Dante Johnson. Dante Johnson.
Everybody always forgets about Dante Johnson. He's like he's like the barnacle on the side of the 49er ship that just will not go away.
Right.
And but he's invaluable. And like, people don't give him credit, but he is invaluable because he plays like 4 or 5 different positions. And you can't forget about I shouldn't forget about him. But who do you think out of these was the biggest pickup, the 2 biggest pickups, and why?
Well, you got to start with the big guy, Javarius Ward. You got to start with him.
Yeah.
Because Niner fans have been craving a number 1 cornerback for forever, since Deion Sanders. I don't even know if some of these Niner fans are even old enough to remember the '94 Super Bowl, but that was probably the last time the Niners had a shutdown corner. Javarius Ward, statistically speaking, is one of the best press man coverage corners out there. I know a lot of people wanted JC Jackson.
Yeah.
And Stephen Gilmore, that was another name dropped that still hasn't signed yet. But Javarius Ward, I'm really excited about, because now you compare him and Mosley together. And you also mentioned one of the losses, Quan Williams went to Denver and joined DJ Jones in Denver. And so now you got 3 young corners. So, the Niners went with a youth movement. Even Ward, I believe, is only 25, 26. He's in the prime of his career. So, you can I heard a bunch of people say that on third downs or in nickel packages, Mosley kicks inside and Thomas plays outside, and those would be your cornerbacks in your nickel package. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm okay with it. They're all really talented. I think Mosley can play inside if need be. We also have Diamador Lenore, who is built like a slot corner, so I think he'll get some run there too as the first guy off the bench to spell some of those players. But Javarius Ward's huge. I know that's a position that Niners felt like, because of Josh Norman and Dante Johnson and all the penalties that we had during the season, that needed to be addressed, and it was. So kudos for the Niners for picking up on that. And then I feel like, what's another? I would have to say George Odom, man, because not only does George Odom fix one of the most glaring problems the Niners had last year, which was special teams. The Niners were dead last in the league. They were the most penalized special teams unit in the entire league last year, and they were middle and below in a lot of the other categories. Field position for the other team, all of that stuff. So they're bringing him. They're bringing Burks, who you mentioned, the linebacker from the Packers, and solidified one of the only unit on our team. I feel like that needed a lot of addressing. Plus, something people don't include in free agency, they also signed one of the best special teams coaches in the entire league.
Yeah,
came from Seattle, Brian Schneider. You go look him up. He's had a top 5 unit several times with Seattle. I'm not sure some of the other teams he's been with, but the guy puts out a great special teams unit. Not middle of the road, not bad, but great. So if the Niners can have great special teams on top of what I think we can do on defense with the additions that we have, plus on offense, and we haven't even had the draft yet. So if you look at all the pieces and you include coaching and all of this, the Niners also did sign two secondary coaches, not primary secondary coaches, but they have secondary backgrounds as well. So it's clear a focus. It's clear a focus. This is something that fans and anybody with 2 eyes and that can see, obviously, we needed to fix. So they fixed the special teams, at least on paper, and they got one of the best young corners in the league, and at cheap prices. First year, I believe he's only getting paid like $4 million. I mean,
it's crazy.
Double digits, but they can restructure that. Prog's a genius. He'll wave his Harry Potter wand and give him a signing bonus and reduce that number again. So I'm not really worried about all that. And he still has a chip on his shoulder. He still has a lot to prove. He's only in the league a few years, so I'm excited about these signings, man. I know they're not big names. I know Niner fans wanted big names, but it's the glue guys, in my opinion. Do we really need a lot of big names? This team's loaded. Fans want like receivers. You got Debo, you got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got Mitchell. I know we lost Mostert, and I know he went to Miami to go be with the the Zoom over there. Now that they got Tyreek and Waddle, and that's just fast everywhere. But truth be told, we still got Sermon, we still got Jeff Wilson came back. He's a big addition. A lot of fans like him. He's in spots. He's had great moments. So I'm not nearly as down on these additions or what the team looks like as of right now, minus the big additions that have been pined for. But I'm excited, man.
I'm thoroughly excited. It baffles me how people are just so down about the signings that we've made, because we complained all last season about special teams. We didn't have anybody to return. Now we have one of the best returners in the league, and then people found something wrong with that. People found something wrong with that. They're like in the spaces, they're sitting there talking about his fumbles, and he did have some fumbling issues in the beginning of the season, but he had like kind of fixed those a lot towards the end. And they were actually
fumbling issues, and I'm pretty sure nobody has a problem with Frank Gore.
Yeah, but what speaks to me is that about the signings was it's about 2 of them, and they're not the most. Well, one of them is not the most important, but Odom, Indy was actually the players were actually tweeting out how upset they were about losing him, and then they did the same thing for Ray, and that kind of tells me that's going to be a good glue guy in the locker room, first of all. And then second of all, if they're mad about losing you, I mean, he's probably a pretty solid player, and he's going to make a difference. So I like you. Javarius Ward, of course, is my number 1. He, in the beginning, I wasn't really high on the pickup. I wanted Rasul Douglas from Green Bay. But then the more I looked at it, the more that I thought about it, Javarius Ward has a ring, and that's something that he brings that I don't think a lot of people talk about, that he brings that championship experience, and he beat the 49ers But more importantly, he's been all the way through, and he's got the championship, and he knows what it takes to not just get there, but to get over the hump. And then my other guy was Ray Ray. I think Ray Ray is not just going to be a returner. People were talking about earlier this week, or I think it was last week, that he actually was a high school running back, and we all know how Shanny loves his guys to have running back ability. I see them using him almost like a Debo and have him on either side, and which way are they going to sweep? And and he can do things being a returner. He can do things after the catch, or even on the sweep. All you got to do is get this guy in space, and I think he's gonna make some moves. So I think he's gonna be a bigger part of the offense. At the very least, he's gonna be a gadget guy and more of. I think he's gonna be what they hoped Richie James was gonna be, and yeah, I those two for sure. I am really excited about. I am excited about Oren Burks also, just because, like you said, he's going to shore up that special teams unit. But more importantly, if you look at the linebackers that the 49ers get, 9 times out of 10 they start on special teams. They're not even expected. Flanagan Foles wasn't expected to be on the field. Neither was Aziz. And all of a sudden they're just. It comes back to what you were saying earlier about coaching, and how that Shanny always finds these coaches that just coach guys up. Kasuri and Saleh, everybody, they find a way to coach these guys up, and nobody knows who our players are half the time. At least not the national guys. They get our players' names wrong all the time. Okay. Nobody knows who we are. We just go out and beat your ass.
Exactly.
And that's what it is.
Talent only takes you so far, and then coaching gets you the rest of the way, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm super excited about the signings, dude. Would I have liked them to get a pass rusher? Okay, maybe. But I mean, we had one of the top defensive lines in the league we had a top 5 defensive line in the league last year. We were top 3 in sacks. So I'm not quite sure as to what everybody wants. They're doing more with less.
Yeah. They want the Von Millers, the Chandler Joneses. They want the names, and they'd rather it come from one guy like Bosa. He had 15 sacks. They want another guy who gets a bunch of sacks also. It's just name recognition. But when you have all these guys, especially like last year, you had Arden Key, you had Sampson, you have now this year you got Kerry Hyder comes back after he went to Seattle and didn't do as well. So you got all these guys, these second wave guys that. When it's the fourth quarter and they're tired, you got these guys that can come in and be productive as well and get sacks in late in games too. And it helps with Bosa and Armstead and hopefully Kinlaw as well, not get double teamed, triple teamed, and then, having these other guys to make plays that they're not used to making. Then you can get, imagine Nick Bosa not having double teams all season. Imagine his sack numbers, his pressure numbers, just his overall performance is going to go through the roof. Him one-on-one, I'll take Nick Bosa one-on-one against anybody, any left tackle in the league.
For sure.
I think he wins. So I like it. I like the fact that we're not as top-heavy. We're not just, four big names up front and a huge drop off in the back. The backups, there is not a lot of drop off, and again because of coaching. Coach Kuceric does not coach drop off. He wants those guys that are behind you to be just as good or have just as high of a motor as the guys in front of them. So that's why you see guys like Key come off the bench and have big sack numbers. How many do you have this year? 6, I think it was.
Yeah, I think he ended up with 6. I think of a guy because a lot of these guys came on strong towards the end of the season. So I think a lot of these backups, Hyder and Jordan Willis and a couple of these other guys, Ebukam is going to be a second year with Kuceric. I think that they're going to have breakout seasons this season. I think it's going to be a little different. I think they're going to take that momentum that they had at the second half of the season this past season, and they're gonna come out with their hair on fire this season. I think it's gonna be a completely different look. I'm looking at Ebicom, and I think that Ebicom is gonna be a monster this season, which is why I don't think that they went all out on edge this in free agency this season. I do want to give a shout out to my boy Brian and then Rashad. Thank you guys for watching. But yeah, like I'm super excited about the team. I don't think that they needed to do a bunch of things just because, just like you were talking about earlier, we're loaded. We're loaded. The one area that I think that we have of need is at offensive line. And it's an obvious need, but it's more for, I mean, they have to shore up the left guard, right guard, and in my eyes, they have to shore up the right tackle spot. They just have to solidify it because we don't know what's going to happen with McGlinchey. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with McGlinchey's injury.
I mean, if you believe what Lynch says he's progressing nicely. So, I mean, you can only take that as you will. But again, it's March. You know, we got a long time before real football. We got a long time before preseason or even before training camp. So, hopefully it is progressing well. He does have a long time to get healthy and to add weight if he's lost any. I know he did add some muscle last year, and he did play a little better against the pass. He's always been a great run tackle. He was graded out, I think, in the 2019 season as the best right tackle in the league in the run. So he definitely has a lot of strengths as far as the run game goes. So if he can improve his pass rush or his pass protection to even just above average, I think we'll be fine there. But like you said, injuries are something you can't really predict. And you know, I would have liked to get a guy, speaking of free agency, get a guy like a Lyle Collins.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
From the Cowboys. He's a big dude like Trent. I don't know how he you know, pound for pound with Trent, but he's a big guy. He's a mauler, and he's a good pass pro guy. So I like to at least heck even get someone like him. If McGlinchey does come back, you can put him in at guard. Maybe if he's any good at guard. I know it's not just as easy as just put him wherever you want, but he's a guy who I would have loved. I know a lot of people were throwing out Bobby Turner, I believe his name was. He's another good versatile tackle that we could have signed, but I think he went to either Tennessee or the Bengals.
Yeah,
exactly.
There was a couple of guys that I thought that they could have brought in. I was looking for guards. I was looking at Connor Williams, and even though he didn't grade out like the greatest, I really blame their coaching staff more than anything. And then on the Cowboys, and then I was also looking at Norwell. I was looking at Norwell from but I was looking at him like to fill in at the right. I think he played tackle. I'm pretty sure he did, but or was he a guard? I think he might have been a guard.
I think he was a guard.
Yeah, he was a guard. But there was the bottom. There was a whole bunch of offensive linemen that were available in free agency that I thought that they had a chance to get. But I think that they, as much as they say that Jimmy's not holding him back, I think that part was the part where they could have shored at least got some depth pieces that they're not able to get now. And I think that they're gonna do what they've done in the past and what they did last season, which is wait until after training camps, and they're gonna go digging in the bargain basement and and I think that they're going to draft a guy. I think they're going to draft 2 offensive linemen in the draft, and then we'll get into the mock drafts later. But it's, I think that's the obvious glaring need. I think McGlinchey, like you, I think that he's a great run blocker, but I think that his mistakes in the passing game, while he doesn't have a ton of them, they're big enough to where they set drives back. They set drives back a lot. And they're always at key moments, and it's and I just don't understand how he always does that right at the worst times. Like it's
pressure,
just,
man. Pressure.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, but he's up for a new contract after this coming season. Do you think
this year? I think did they?
Well, I think that they eventually, I think they're going to move on from him. Like
Oh, yeah.
I think they did pick up his 5th year, but it doesn't make sense to keep him, especially after the injury. I think they're going to get what they can get from him, but I expect them to get at least 2 offensive linemen in this draft, and I think that they're not done bringing in some bargain basement guys to see if they can find something to, because I like Jalen Moore too.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to bring up the depth that they have. They have Jalen Moore, F. Skull, who played pretty well when both tackles went out. I think it was the 2020. Skull actually graded out pretty well. If you look him up, he graded out pretty well. He was one of the better tackles on the team that year, I believe. I don't want to blame everything on not having money and Jimmy, since that's the easy thing to do. What I want to know is, do you think that they actually like those guys and they think that those guys will be potentially the future at some of these positions that we're talking about, or do you think that they're just high quality depth?
I think that they like Jalen Moore. I really think that they like Jalen Moore. I think that they were impressed with McKivitz enough to put him in at left tackle in a must-win game.
Monster game.
Yeah, like that was crazy to me. When they said McKivitz, because I'm expecting them to say Jalen Moore was gonna cover that spot. And and then they said McKivitz, and I was like, has he even played this season? Like, what are we doing?
I know, right?
There was multiple times last season where they made decisions that I was like, are they just trying to lose? Like, I just don't. And then somehow it would work out. Like, and I just it always shows us that they know more than we do. Like,
exactly. They're grooming these guys behind the scenes, and they're just not saying anything. Like, who knew that guy was going to play as good as he did? I mean, was he a world beater? No. Was he, like a potential starting left tackle for 10 years? No. But he did his job. He played serviceable. And if he's a guy you can keep on the bench, and Trent Williams got a little banged up at the end of last year also. He, by the skin of his teeth, played in some of those playoff games. So having guys like him, having guys like Cole and then Jalen Moore, if he could play one of these guard positions, Brunskill's a guy who, is serviceable. He's played. A lot of people call him Aaron Donald's daddy. That's funny, and he has done very well against him, and we've won games with him at right guard. So I'm not going to knock that guy. But if you're trying to win a Super Bowl and there's positions that you think, okay, this is good, but we could do better, he's a position that I think they could do better. And it's no knock on him if they want to keep him around. So I think they're gonna judge, Brunskill, Skull, Jalen Moore, and they're going to see, they're going to let them fight it out in camp, and hopefully the best man wins. And like you said, they're probably going to draft another guy, which they should, whether it's a pick for down the road or a potential starting pick. You never know. Niners do really well in the later rounds at all positions. So, maybe there's guys there that are going to do well that we just don't know about. Like you said, who knew McKivitz was going to start? We all lost our minds, and then the guy played pretty good.
You know what? The more I think about how Shanny is and how he kind of coaches way more old school than most coaches do nowadays, and I just think about I think that they just like to draft guys and sit them for a season. Most of the guys, unless they absolutely have to, they don't like, he doesn't like playing rookies. And it's like Phil Jackson, he just hates rookies.
Right. I don't understand why. Yeah, I get it. You want to draft these rookies. I mean, but or you want to draft these rookies and play them all. But I mean, the probability, especially on a loaded team like this, I mean, go back to the first year Kyle was here. They had to draft all these guys and play every single one of them, and we were terrible. So feel good about the fact that we don't have to play all these guys, that we can sit them. Ambry Thomas is a perfect example of this.
That guy.
He sat for it. Right. I saw that he sat out for a year because of the whole COVID thing, got drafted in the 3rd round. He was an Adam Peters pick. Adam Peters allegedly stood on the table for this guy. And then, they sat him, they groomed him, and finally when he got his legs under him and his confidence, they played him, and he got better, and he got better, and he got better. And, I mean, if they hadn't gotten Javarius Ward and they had to start him and Mosley, in my opinion, he's got the talent and the frame that the Niners like. He's 6 feet. I think he's about 190, 200 pounds, and he runs a 4.3. depending on what site you look at. 4.44. He's got the body type and he's got the speed to become a very good corner in this league, especially with the coaching that we have. So, yeah.
D'Amico did an awesome job with him last season. That had to be one of the best coaching jobs by a defensive coordinator that I've ever seen, because we had so many holes in that secondary, and he just found a way to mask them every single week, and it was just it was masterful. Because I was expecting teams to take advantage of us, and then Ambry was, like you said, he was out of, like, in the beginning he was getting roasted, but then as the season went on, he was always in position. He just wasn't making plays on the ball, and then towards the end, he had supreme confidence. You could see it in his body language, and I just thought, like, Ambry was just a really I don't think that they knew he was going to be as good as he. Well, obviously Adam Peters did, but like I don't think
first round grade before that season. So he was a first round talent we got in the third round. If you believe the people who grade those things. So he's got all of it, man. I think Ambry Thomas has all the makings. He just needs more experience and, play more games, obviously, to be a very good corner in this league. I'm not ready to bench him or put him on the, or let him go just because we have Ward. I think there's going to be a spot for him on this team. He's going to play a lot. And if you believe the rumors that he'll go to the outside and Mosley will go inside on nickel packages, which they play about 70% of the time, he's going to get a lot of run. We lost Quan Williams, but the youth movement is here. Let's embrace it.
I want to see Lenore get some run too, because I think that the slot is where he's going to excel. I mean, like you said earlier, he is built for that, and I think that he has the temperament to that. Once he gains some confidence, like Ambry, like, you just got to get him out there. I think the preseason is going to be really important for him. And like some of these intramural scrimmages that they have in the offseason are going to be really important for him, just to get those reps in the slot, because I do think that they drafted him to be that guy, the replacement for K1, and I still think that they're going to draft a guy for that position too. So, but I did like which are there any free agents out there that you see that the Niners might still go after the draft or before the draft? Is there any guy that you see out there that you could see them trying to pick up?
Yes. JC Treater, he's the center from the Browns. I would love to see him. Okay. Here's why. Alex Mack is coming back, but he's 36 years old. Now here's the thing. You can either sit him behind Mack and, just have a quality depth there, or like we were just talking about the right guard position. If he can play guard, I'm not sure. He's an outstanding center with Cleveland. And if you can get a guy like him, age 32, and he could be the potential replacement for Mack, and then you draft the guy you want to pair with Lance for the next 10 years, 12 years, you can do that in this draft or the next. But I think of the guys left, I know fans want another receiver, and I know fans want an edge rusher. But I feel like that is the most important position outside of left tackle on the offensive line. And if you can shore that up and make that something you don't have to worry about, kind of like how, you just sent Lincoln out there and you set it and forget it. That's a position you want to set and forget, because it is the most important position outside of left tackle on the offensive line. And if you get him to play next to Mack, that's like having two centers on the same offensive line. And you can't have too many smart guys on the offensive line. I don't care who you are, especially when you're in the division like this, when you got to play against a guy like Aaron Donald and some of the defensive linemen that we have to go against, especially since we're playing the AFC West this year. So you can't have too many smart guys. And if Trader can play right guard and replace Brunskill and raise that level of play at the right guard position, leaps and bounds for a guy like Trey Lance going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you actually stole my guy. Like, I would like to see them go after Treader, I don't know if they I don't know how much he's asking for. I don't think he's going to be expensive, but
Yeah,
I would like to see them, especially if Mac doesn't come back. They're going to have to do something
right.
because they can't go out there with they're not going to go out there with a rookie, and I doubt they try to make Brunskill play the center spot again. That was a disaster.
Oh yeah.
So
No, yeah, no.
so
No center for him, please.
yeah, so like yeah, but I think Treader is, like I said, is really talented. I think that I think Cleveland had to get rid of him
Yeah,
to fit Deshaun Watson in and
yeah,
under the cap and everything. He was just a cap casualty,
right.
and I think that another team's loss is our gain. I think that they would take advantage of it if they had the chance. I don't think that Mac has told them if he's going to retire yet. I honestly don't think that he's told him yet.
I don't think there's a confirmation, but you see things. I think I don't know. I'm just gonna say that Mac's gonna come back until I
Yeah,
hear otherwise, because all I've heard was that he's interested and that there's a potential that he could return. If he was gonna retire, he probably would have done it already. It's been a long enough after the season. He could have sat with his wife. So I have a feeling he's coming back. But if he doesn't, hopefully he lets him know sooner than later, so we can get a guy like him. And if Treader needs to actually play the starting center position, again, it would be just as good, if not better, than having a guy like Alex Mack. So that would
yeah.
be a huge addition, no
It's
matter which position he would have to play this year.
it's shocking to me that somebody didn't swoop him up right away. Like
I
I'm
don't get it either.
yeah, I don't know what's going on there unless he's got a wink deal with somebody like already.
Right, right. And he
So
just figured it out. Yeah.
but let's move on to this. We talked about, like I talked to you about it yesterday. Like we want to do a mock draft, like a quick mock draft,
Oh yeah.
and basically, like I'm sure that everybody has a different way of looking at how the 49ers are going to draft,
Yeah.
and so I just want to get an idea, like so give the people an idea of what we're looking at, guys that we're looking at in the draft, and we can kind of just go. I don't know if you did any trades in your mock draft, but I didn't.
No trades in
Yeah,
mine.
no trades. So
I just
so that
kept
way
it.
we can just see who's at the spots that the Niners are going to be picking, and it'll give
Yeah.
people an idea of how we see the team needs to be built. Uh, so the first pick is pick 61 in the second round for the 49ers as of right now. So who do you got going
All
in that
right.
spot?
Well, it's funny that we were just talking about center because at 61, I know a lot of people want the wide receiver from North Dakota State, the same place Trey Lance played, Christian Watson.
Yeah.
He didn't fall. He didn't fall to me at that spot. I don't think he's going to fall to us in real life at that spot. I think he's going to be a low first round, high second round pick. I actually selected the center from Arizona State, Donovan West.
Okay.
Like I said before, if let's say we don't get Treader and Mac does come back, he'd be the perfect guy to groom behind Mac, and then you have your pairing, as it were, if West pans out to be as good as some of these pundits say that he is. I believe he's either the number 1 or number 2 center in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Big kid, not little, got a mean streak. So I think that's a perfect spot to take the future center who's going to pair with your Trey Lance for the next 10 to 12 years. So that's who I picked 61.
And funny fact about Donovan West is I do mock drafts a lot. Like in the I started doing them like in January, and when I was starting to look, I don't like to do serious ones in January because obviously we don't know, we won't really know where anybody's going until the combine. But I think right now things are being a little bit more solidified.
Yeah.
And but Donovan West is a guy that I've had in my mocks since January. And then I saw on Twitter that Brad Graham did a whole film breakdown of him and was all about him, and I got super excited because makes you it makes you feel good when like the pros the pros like Brad are looking at the guys that you see are good. And but yeah, I think that Donovan West is a monster, and I think that he is a guy that could come in and play guard right away and like sit and like not sit, but playing guard right next to Mac and learn the position in the pros. And I think that that position could be solidified, like you said, for years at the center position. So I agree with your pick. But however, at 61, I picked Abraham Lucas, not just because he has the same last name as me, but he's a tackle out of Washington State.
Oh yeah.
I think that the injury to McGlinchey is going to be more serious than people think. I know that what John Lynch is saying, they don't ever tell us the truth. so I have a feeling that it's a serious injury, and even if it's not, I don't see them holding on to McGlinchey, and I think that they need to prepare now for his departure. And so I want to solidify that line. I think that it's the offensive line, we talked about it earlier, is the most important, glaring, obvious need that we have. So solidifying that spot, I picked Abraham Lucas. He's
Trey Lance, man.
Yeah, you got to protect the guy. And this guy he's a big guy. I think he's about 325 pounds, and he's nimble. He's 6'7", I believe, and 6'7", and he's like, but he's nimble, and he excels in the zone scheme. So I think that he would be a really good pick right there. He's the last. I wouldn't say the last, but he's after him. It kind of falls off pretty far in the tackle position. There's one other tackle that I kind of like later on down the road that Trey Lance would be familiar with, but yeah, we'll get to him later.
Okay.
So next pick would be round 3 at pick 93 overall. Who do you got?
Well, this one I kind of took a minute because of all the best available players there, and I don't do a lot of mock drafts. So this is a player I actually took because I recognize the name. A couple of people that I saw that I trust really like this kid. I took a wide receiver here out of Boise State, Khalil Shakir.
Okay.
The Niners could use a little bit more speed, a little bit more wiggle. The kid had a fantastic career at Boise State, and so I think he'd be a great compliment in the slot. You got a guy like Ray who can fill that void. Jennings, who had a great year last year. He had a Bourne-esque, I like to call it a Bourne-esque season last year. Not a ton of catches, but a lot of first downs and more touchdowns than you would probably think he would get. So you had a kid like this. He's a little more flash than big and tall and bully. So I think this would be a great addition. Add some depth and allow Kyle to get even more creative. Do I think we're going to go 4 wide sets more if we add another wide receiver, regardless if it's a kid like this or even a similar type receiver as Jennings? I don't think we're going to go more 3 wide receiver or 4 wide receiver sets. We still have Kittle. So so he's my pick for number 93 in the 3rd round.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that pick. That kid's a burner, and I think that that's absolutely a facet of the 49er offense that is lacking, is that they don't have that guy that can just take the top off. Ray that they brought in, he's quick, but he's not a burner. So
he's not a 4-2, 4-3 guy. He's
so it's I think that is again what they wanted. I think that they envisioned Richie James to be that for them, and it just never panned out for him. But yeah, no, I love that pick. For my pick, in my mock draft, Donovan West fell to me at 93. So so I took him at 93 in the 3rd round.
So you went back to that O-line, man. I see. Are you a former O-line? Did you play O-line yourself?
No.
You've been listening to
Greg Graham. Honestly, I didn't play. I was one of those guys that didn't want to get hit. But I loved watching the game. I've always loved the game, and I was always around the game. Yeah. And it's just something I've always had an interest in. So But yeah, Donovan West, I think, is just a monster, and the opportunity I couldn't pass by an opportunity to really solidify the line for the future.
I don't blame you, man. Trey Lance,
Uh,
you gotta keep him
Trey
up.
Lance,
Yeah.
Trey Lance, that's what he needs. He needs, and those first two picks for me, like it's really it's not just Trey Lance. I think that those both of those guys are going to help out tremendously in the run game.
Oh yeah. Elijah
So
Mitchell's gonna thank you as well.
yeah, because they don't. So that way they don't have to keep Kittle in there at all
Like,
times just to help block.
yes. Kittle's a 6 offensive lineman. Nobody
Yeah,
wants him to be that, but I get it. He's a fantastic run blocker.
yeah, for sure. Now, um, like so they have another pick in the third round, 105 at 105, just like 12 picks later. Who do you got for that pick?
I have another name that a lot of people like, and it's an edge. Deangelo Malone from Western Kentucky. This guy went to the combine and he went crazy. I know there were guys like I think it was Jason Aponte and a couple other guys, Brad Graham were there, and they raved about this kid.
Hmm.
So I think, oh no, wait, it was at the Senior Bowl. I apologize. It was the Senior Bowl. Senior Bowl, this kid went nuts, and they ran and raved about him. So I looked him up. I saw him. He was available in the third round. If you can get a premium edge that you could put on the other side of Bosa and solidify that D Ford role, since D Ford doesn't seem to want to play, he can't get over that back
Yeah,
injury. God bless him. If you can get a guy like him on that side and take those double teams away from Bosa, it is. I mean, God bless any quarterbacks that are going to play against us, because if you can get 2 premium edge rushers, especially with one on a rookie contract, I mean, lights out. And then you got Armstead and Kinlaw in the middle. So yeah, I'm a big edge guy. I know everybody loves secondary, but I think solidifying the second premier edge rusher is where I would go here in the third round.
yeah, and I can't blame you. Like I look at that at Deangelo Malone as almost. I look at him almost like a what's the guy's name that we did not get that everybody wanted in free agency? Hassan Reddick.
Oh, Son Reddick, yeah.
Like kind of a smaller guy
Yeah.
that is just a beast he just flies off the edge. And yeah, and I agree with you. Like, I mean, I would love to I just wonder about he'd be a situational pass rusher in our defense.
For
That's
sure.
the
Yeah.
like but it's all about what you want. If you want that D Ford role, I mean, he's perfect for that D Ford role.
For sure.
And I don't know what their plan is for D Ford. I don't even know if he's going to play or not.
And because they've restructured his contract so many times, it's impossible to get rid of him. I think if they got rid of him, it'd be like a $9 million dead cap hit.
Yeah.
Someone can correct me on that later if I'm wrong, but it's a pretty big hit. So I think they're going to keep him whether he can play or not, unfortunately, because of just the way the contract is. But if you can get a guy who played the way D Ford played in that role, even if it is situational, even if it is on a third down, like you said, all that depth we have the Jordan Willises, we got Kerry Hyder back, and Ebukam. I mean, this kid could come in with no pressure and just pin his ears back and go get the QB and QC just say, look, don't do anything but just go sack the guy with the football. You do that with a guy like him first year. I mean, not that they're comparable, but Alden Smith was just a third down pass rusher in his rookie year, and he did really well in that situation. So I feel like the Niners could do that here, put no pressure on this kid and just let him go out and play football.
Yeah, I feel you. And it's yeah, like I said, I don't think you can go wrong with edge. I didn't go too heavy in edge at edge in my mock just because they
Yeah.
had taken so many guys in free agency, and I know that they're going to get some more bargain basement guys after OTAs. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, but for my pick, I took safety Brian Cook out of Cincinnati. Like and just because we have another glaring need at that safety spot, and I know that they got Odom from Indy. I'm not sure if he's a special teamer. I know that or if he's going to be if they planned on making him a full safety, but I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing in a Brian Cook, a guy that has the size, has the speed, he's versatile, and has the mean streak to kind of like he's more than a box safety. Like so I think that he could give them some versatility, and they can kind of move him around with Jimmy Ward, and I think that it could make it dynamic eventually down the road, because I do think that there will be like a learning curve, but I think that D'Amico would find ways to use him.
Oh yeah, just like they found ways to use Huff last year in packages. You know, he's
Yeah, and I like Hufanga.
Yeah.
I don't see him as a starter, but I see him exactly what he did last year, which is like a situational guy, like more of a dime linebacker, if you will.
Yeah. So, and they still got Javarius Ward, who is a really fast guy. He's a 4.3, but
I think he's going to be in the mix. I think he's going to be in the mix. But you never know what you're going to get when you come off of the injury that he just came off of. So
yeah, exactly.
But so the next pick is in round 4, number 134. Who do you got at that one?
So this one, I kind of just went off of pedigree and where he was placed, best player available, and I took a corner here. And his name is Zion McCollum out of Sam Houston State. I've never heard of this kid. I looked him up in my draft magazine. PFF gave me an A- for picking at this spot for this kid. So the only thing I saw, I think he's like 6'4".
Yeah, he's huge.
He's huge. He's just he reminds me of Brian Browner. You remember Brian Browner from Seattle? Another corner. I mean,
but he runs.
Oh, yeah. No, but this kid's fast. This kid's not just like some 4'6", 4'5", like tight end playing corner who wants to be a corner. This is a big kid playing corner, and he can play. So I really like this pick. This is probably one of my favorite picks of the draft, even in this round. Huge kid, huge upside, and try to throw the ball over this kid's head. I know a lot of fans want interceptions from the safeties and corners. You could clearly develop this kid. You could sit him for a full year if you wanted to, play him in situational roles, or just to give guys a breather, or just put him on special teams and watch him eat everybody alive because he's just bigger than everybody. Yeah. So I really like this kid. He could definitely come in, be groomed, go at his pace, and potentially be a starter on this team, depending on how the cornerbacks fall.
Funny story about him is he's a twin, and his brother plays for that team too. But he would only go to that team. He was supposed to go to a bigger school, but they wouldn't take his brother.
Oh wow!
And so that's why he ended up with that. That's the story that I heard, is that's why he ended up at that school, was because that was the school that would take him and his brother as a package deal. So it's
man, taking a lesser school to just play with your brother. I mean, if he's anything, if his brother's anything like him, they're both going to be good players in the NFL.
Yeah, so he is really, really solid. And he is really fat. Like you said, he's big and fast. And I would love to see. He's definitely going to be a developmental guy, just because he's a bigger corner, and they always have a little bit of a learning curve when they get to the NFL about with the mobility aspect and being able to their hips and all the other stuff.
For sure.
I'm still learning about all that stuff. Eric Crocker talks about it all the time, so I learn a lot from just listening to him talk. But
great. You ever need to know anything about corners?
Yeah, I tell you. And but I think it's a great pick. I picked him in a few of my mocks when I was looking before we got Javarius Ward. I was looking at that kid, just going off of the scouting reports on him. So but I didn't see any video on him until recently. But yeah, the kid is fast. He tested well at the combine.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So but yeah, I took out of LSU, I took a corner also. I took Cordell Flott, and they say that he can play both inside and outside, but I see him more as an inside guy. He is he's 6 feet 6'1", but he's only 195 pounds, but he has really long arms. And I think that he would be perfect for that slot position. And I almost look at him like another Emmanuel Mosley.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, PFF gave me an A- for that pick. Like I think he's gonna be. Whoever gets him, I think is gonna get a dog. He's kind of an aggressive guy in the slot, and he does come in and make tackles in the running game, which is which was K1's strength. And I don't think the 49ers want to lose that ability. So like that's why I took him there at that spot. And he's quick. He was quick. I think he ran like a 4.4. I mean, not as quick as some of these other guys that were running this year. It was crazy. But
one of the faster drafts I've seen in a while, for sure.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, because last year there was a bunch of fast times, but they were pro days, so nobody knew if it was actually real. But when it's at the combine, it's crazy. But so next pick, round 5, 172. Who do you got at that spot?
This was another. I was thinking about who was there and positional need, and you took a safety in the previous round. This is where I pick up the starting safety. I took Sterling Weatherford out of Miami of Ohio, the same college that Ben Roethlisberger went to. Yep. I don't know too much about this kid. I got an A grade for picking him here. Looks like a solid kid. Looks like someone that could come in and at least compete. But if he has to just be another depth piece, but he looks like someone that the Niners could groom and be a second-year instant starter. So Sterling Weatherford is my pick.
And I want to say something about Sterling Weatherford because I have been watching this guy, and he is a beast. Like he is a he's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's like 220.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's a linebacker.
Yeah, and but he still runs a 4.5. Like so.
Yeah, you don't need to be 4 as a safety, but yeah.
Yeah, for his size, like I mean, he is definitely what I saw on tape of him. He looks like a linebacker playing safety, but he's fast. He's fast, and and he has this knack for the ball, like just finding the ball, and he just lays guys out.
Well, Niner fans for sure want to see a safety find the ball and lay guys out. So
yeah, I think he's like Hufanga on like if Hufanga was actually 220 pounds.
Wow. I mean, 6'4", 220, that's huge. So not only did I draft a 6'4" corner, but now I have a 6'4" safety. This is gonna be like trying to throw through the trees.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the pick.
Yeah,
because I thought about picking him just because I thought that the 49ers might use him as a linebacker actually, because that's how they picked up.
They swapped Marcel Harris from safety, and now they play him at linebacker. So Niners kicked in with those guys. So
and what's his name? Our starting our main linebacker.
Warner? Greenlaw?
No, our main Warner.
Warner.
God, how did I forget Warner's name? But like Warner was actually like that. He was like a safety linebacker. He wasn't really a linebacker in college. He was more of like a dime linebacker type of guy.
Yeah. So was his brother.
Yeah. So I think that's the kind of guy that the 49ers kind of look for those positions. They want a guy to be able to fly around the field and cover a lot of ground.
Versatility, man. You got to be able to play more than one position.
Exactly.
Make Kyle's team.
Exactly. But I love Sterling Weatherford. I think that guy is whoever gets him. There was another guy last year, Divine Diablo.
Oh yeah.
That I was.
Hey, by the way.
I was in love with that guy last year, and I wanted the Niners to get him so bad, and he ended up going to the Raiders, and he had a decent season.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, that's right. He did go to the Raiders.
But the guy that I picked for 172, I went running back. I went Pierre Strong Jr. out of South Dakota State, and the guy ran like a 4.3.
Sounds like a Kyle guy.
Yeah, he's a small guy. He's like 6'9", 6'8", somewhere around there. Or 6'8". He's 5'8", 5'9", But he's explosive is not the word. Like that, he is really, really fast, and he's got experience running the zone read system. I think he's a guy that can stick his foot in the ground and just go.
That's all.
And he catches the ball out of the backfield. I think that Kyle would love to have a guy like that, just another dynamic guy to come out of the backfield, and kind of have a change of pace with the other guys, Trey Sermon and the other guys that they got in the backfield, because he doesn't really have a real true burner now that Mostert's gone.
Nope.
But that's who I picked. But I really like Pierre Strong. And there was I was hoping. I thought about not taking him because there was another guy, Ty Chandler out of North Carolina, that I kind of like later on in the draft. But I just went for it. So we got.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sounds like a guy Kyle would want. We definitely need another speed back. So I really like that pick. And there's a ton of super fast running backs in this draft. So if Kyle grabs one, I would not be surprised one bit. Yeah. In fact, I expect it.
Yeah, shout out to Beatty too from Missouri. That guy is another guy that I think they might look at too. But round 6, 180, pick 187. Who do you got on that one?
Okay, so this is a blast from the past. This is some.
I already know who you're taking. I already know who it is.
This is a bloodline pick. If you know what I'm talking about, this is a bloodline pick. I couldn't pass it up. I just stared at his name and I was like, you know what? Forget it. Whatever. It's just a mock draft. I got tight end Derek Deese from San Jose State. I don't care if this kid has no arms, and I don't care. Derek Deese was one of the best offensive linemen that the Niners had in the heydays, and I was a huge fan of his dad, and I could only expect this kid to be just as good of a guy and hopefully just as good as a player. And I'm sure Kittle would love a guy to take him off of that line and make him more of a pass catcher and a route runner than an offensive lineman. So my pick here is Derek Deese Jr.
Yeah, for sure. He's I think he's going to start out as a good receiving tight end, but I think that working with Kittle is going to help him with his blocking. And then I think that he's and I had him later on in the draft and some other mocks like on some of those other sites. The funny thing about the mock drafts is that all of them are different and all of them have guys going at different levels. So it's but yeah, I like Derek Deese. I like the pick. I picked him in the past, and like you said, it was a purely homer pick.
For me, this is a homer pick. I don't care who he is, where he is. I wanted him, so I was like, Derek Deese. His dad was great. Let's just take the kids in the 6th round. If he doesn't pan out, nobody will even notice. But if he does, it'll be just another one of those late round gems the Niners pulled out of a hat and coached him up. So,
and Derek for those that don't remember him, Derek Deese was the guy with the extra helmet.
Yes, the dome of all domes. He had this monstrosity. It was like, what is that? You looked at it and you're like, oh, it's like an extension. And he had this. Loved it.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't see that kind of stuff anymore, but
I don't know where they even came up with that, but
who cares? It was awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I got for my pick, I've got Tyquan Thornton out of Baylor.
Yeah.
And taller receiver, and he's a burner, runs a 4.3. And I think like you were talking about with your pick earlier, and we were saying that I think the 49ers need a guy that can stretch the field. And funny thing about Tyquan is that he had a terrible quarterback at Baylor. He had a terrible quarterback, and the guy was wide. The more tape we looked at the guy, he was wide open a whole bunch, and he was just never throwing the ball.
Right.
And and he actually runs pretty solid routes. So I think that he would kind of flourish in Kyle's system, and he's a guy that could end up wide open a lot. I picked him. I think that it's funny because PFF only gave me a C for that one, but
Yeah.
I just don't think that they think that Kyle likes fast guys, which I don't think. I don't know how they pick their grades,
Right.
but I think that Taekwon, I think his stock went up after the combine after he ran that crazy. I think he had the fastest time for receivers on at least one of them.
Yeah, I think you're right. So speed usually, whatever round you were projected, if you run a crazy fast time, a lot of times speed will bump you up at least a round because a lot of teams like to draft, like you said, the 40 times.
Yeah.
So, he could be nice. He could probably go around sooner than that. He could probably go, maybe in the 120s or 130s.
Yeah.
So wouldn't be
That's what
surprised.
I think the PFF site it kind of bases it on production, and I don't think he got a chance to have a lot of production because of his quarterback situation at his school. So I think that's why he's so low. But I wasn't gonna pass him when I saw him that low. So I picked up Taekwon. So we're at round 6, 220 because the 49ers got 3 6-round picks.
This also doesn't account for the additional third-round pick that we received.
Yep.
So, yeah, there was another third round. The Niners actually have 3 third-round picks in real life. But anyway. All right, so this one, this one's more of like a joke. This one was more of like a kind of trolling Niner fans a little. So I took out of San Diego State, Matt Ararza, a punter, because Niner fans didn't like the fact that Mitch Wishnowsky got taken in the 4th round and that we could have gotten a corner or a wide receiver or any other position besides punter. But apparently, I looked into this kid. Apparently, this guy's like a coffin corner, like sniper, punter, or whatever you want to call it. Like,
okay.
Drop a ball in a bucket from 100 yards away behind his head. Like some silly things like that. Like he's like a wizard with the ball off his foot. So I took a punter here. Do we need one? No. It was more of kind of a funny pick, but it was late enough in the draft. In this particular draft, we get the next pick, so it was kind of back to back. So I took a punter here. Probably could have took several other positions, but the Niners are loaded. I don't really think after all of what I just took that maybe taking. I don't know. I could have taken a receiver here and gotten 2 receivers, maybe another O lineman or a tackle. But yeah, so I took a punter.
Yeah, and I go best. Once we get to this level, I just go best player available who has the most upside.
Right.
I did want to mention Baymack posted something when Shanahan and McVay go out to eat. Kyle orders from the $1 menu and McVay gets premium items. Kyle also gets mad at Sean for tipping over 15%.
What?
I don't know what that means, but
Kyle's cheap and McVay is pricey. That sounds like a salary cap shot. That sounds like a frugal versus a big spender. So yeah, shout out to him for kind of telling the truth there.
Yeah. And then always faithful 24/7, him and Alex Mack with the oversized helmet. Did Alex Mack have, well, it's not the same kind of oversized helmet, but Derek Deese is very unique.
Google Derek Deese, and you will see exactly what we're talking about. Not a lot of offensive linemen did this, but they literally wore a second shell, which made their helmet look humongous, and it looked totally obvious that it was there. So yeah, if you want to know what we're talking about, it's not just an oversized helmet; it's literally like a second shell. It's crazy. You don't see it anymore.
And then Baymax said again, if John went to school with them, keep an eye out for those prospects.
Oh,
because John loves his homer picks.
Oh yeah, we take another Stanford guy, the fan base is probably gonna.
Oh yeah, I don't think they'll ever take another Stanford guy.
Oh, let's hope
because of that.
Oh yeah, Solomon Thomas ruined that for them.
But my pick for that spot was I took Daniel Bellinger, tight end out of San Diego State.
Oh, okay.
And because like you took Derek Deese earlier, I do think that Kittle is going to eventually need a second pass catcher,
Yes.
like another guy that can take some of the weight off of him, and because he's going to get hurt at some point. Like I mean,
Unfortunately,
it's going
it,
to happen.
oh
So
yeah.
they need somebody that's viable in the passing game. Dwelly, I don't think is coming back. Or no, he went to. Didn't he go to? Didn't Miami sign him?
I don't think he's coming back. No, I don't know if he went somewhere. But let's see. Oh no,
But
he's still a free agent. No, he's still
oh,
a
he's
free
still
agent.
a free agent. Okay,
Yeah,
I
he's
thought I
still
saw him
unsigned.
go to Miami, but
Yeah, no, he's still unsigned.
But yeah, like Dwelly, I don't think is coming back. And I will say that Charlie Warner looked way better than he did the previous season.
Absolutely.
Like,
Some people think that he's got some Kittle-esque ability.
yeah,
Some think that
he's just not as fast.
right. He's like what was that guy's name? No, not I was gonna say Eric Johnson, but Eric Johnson was one of the best route runners at tight end that we ever had.
Yeah,
He's just a slow, plottier guy. You know what I mean? He's just like the
yeah,
bigger guy. He could get open, but he's not going to beat anybody in a foot race. He'll be the type
yeah,
of guy that touch the ball, get 8 yards, and he'll just be that guy. He'll just be the guy that's just inconvenient over the middle.
yeah, for sure. Like, and yeah, Daniel Bellinger is. I mean, he's not. I don't see him as being special, but he is like a. He's more of a guy that's just more of a receiving tight end, and but he does have the size to where he could probably learn to block. I think he's 6'4", 245. So
Niners
um,
big physical players, so yeah.
yeah, exactly. So next sixth round pick was 221. Who do
The
you got?
immediate pick following my amazing punter pick is going to be you address the tackle situation right off the bat. This is where I address tackle, and I take out of Connecticut, Ryan Vandemark.
Okay.
PFF gave me a B plus here. I looked him up. I wasn't too familiar with the later round picks as far as tackles go. Seems like a serviceable guy. Could be another Justin Skull type. Not huge, very tall. I think he's like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. About 305. So he's a McGlinchey. He's a McGlinchey clone, I think. I think McGlinchey's like 6'8", 310, something like that.
Yeah.
So I address tackle here, depending on what they think about Skull, depending on the injury situation. Just another body that they draft, like they always do. They always bring in like a Tom Compton type during the training camp or, closer to the preseason. So you'll see something like that. But yeah, I definitely think taking a tackle and a guard or a center in this draft is definitely necessary. So yeah, Ryan Vandemark here at tackle from Connecticut.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think that they have to at least get some depth pieces. I don't know too much about Vandermark. I'm all like at this. I think he actually goes a little bit earlier than that. But Cordell Volson out of North Dakota State is a guy that if somehow if they get to like 61 and Abraham Lucas isn't there, I was looking at him like to pick up late in the later rounds as a guy that knows Trey, and he actually tested pretty well. But I think because he's coming from a small school that he's probably going to go later.
Mm.
But yeah, they're going to have to address the offensive line. So and they're going to bring in some camp bodies too. I think that most of these later round picks are going to be camp bodies. But the guy that I took was Carson Wells out of Colorado. He's an edge,
Oh, okay.
and that's where I decided to pick an edge. I mean, he's basically a camp body. He's only 250 pounds, and he's 6'4". So, but he's not terribly fast. But he is a solid edge setter. He plays the run pretty decent. He's not going. He's going to be an effort guy that if he gets any sacks, so
Right.
but he's a guy that had a solid career at Colorado, and when you get in these later rounds, you're just looking for a solid like one of those some of those glue guys that can maybe play on special teams or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the the 6th, 7th round guys, unless you're some sort of draft wizard and some sort of scout genius. These are usually just your special teamers, your camp bodies, like you said, or just your depth guys. I know Niners have had huge success in the undrafted free agent market. Mostert, Mosley are two names that they've plucked out and gotten huge production out of. So, yeah, guys like that.
And Elijah Mitchell. Elijah Mitchell was 6th round.
Right. Another 6th round gem that most people didn't think was going to do much. And he had literally the best rookie year of all time in at least in the Niner backfield, that is.
So, for sure.
So the next are we going to go to the next one?
Yeah. Like round 7, 262, the last pick of the draft. It's Mr. Irrelevant.
All right. So Mr. Irrelevant. So I'm a big edge guy, and you just took an edge, and I know I already took one earlier in Malone, but I took Tua, the quarterback from the Miami Dolphins. I took his brother, Myron Tagovailoa Amosa from Notre Dame, edge. They only gave me a C+ for this, but again, like you said, it's another camp body. I'm a huge pass rush guy.
I didn't know they were brothers.
It says that they were brothers. I just Googled them while we were talking here. That's what I was doing while you were talking about the pick that you just made there. And it says it's his brother.
Okay.
So another tryhard. He's like 6'2", 270. So he's not tall, but he's bulky. Apparently he's got a good spin counter move, and he's a tryhard. Can never have too many pass rushers. One of our guys, one or multiple guys always go down during the season. So he's a guy you could groom if he turns out to be nothing. Maybe you just turn him into a special teams ace, or, you release him and let him go find another team to latch onto, and nobody's going to knock the Niners for cutting a 7th round pick. But
yeah, for sure.
I'm a big edge guy. I love my pass rush, and so I took an edge here.
Yeah, and I also looked at him like in the later rounds for the same reason, like another effort guy that I thought that they could move inside at times, like in pass rush situations. Like you said, in round 7s we're getting to the point to where it's like you're just picking guys that you think might make it through camp.
Right. And you got to have someone to carry the water and the
exactly
inside. So if he makes it, he makes it. You don't.
And then, but my pick was QB. I picked a QB. I took Jack Cohn out of Notre Dame, also a domer.
There you go.
And he's obviously not a highly touted quarterback, but I think that the guy that our backup right now is not going to be our true backup. I think he's going to be in the same role that he was last season. I still don't think that they've gotten their backup quarterback, but I think they may bring in this kid and put him on the practice squad or something, and just because I still think that they're going to pick up a backup in free agency. Just who knows who that is. Because I expect them to be
Tyrod Taylor, but they haven't gotten to Jimmy yet, and Tyrod Taylor went to the Giants, so that's going to happen. But we'll find out.
Yeah, the rumor is that Jimmy they're trying to work out a deal for the Niners to take Sam Darnold's salary and to trade Jimmy for Sam Darnold
and bring his $18 million with him. Yeah, no, I'm good.
Yeah. I was thinking that, hey, if they'll take $8 million off of it, if they'll eat $8 million of that,
if they could eat us with 10, maybe.
Yeah, like if they'll just leave us with 10, I'd be fine. I'd probably take the deal. Like
Dude, Atlanta ate 40 to get rid of Matt Ryan, so Carolina can eat 18 or 12 or something, because nobody's paying Sam Darnold 8, because we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
But instead of getting $25 million, we're only getting $7 million getting rid of Jimmy, because we're taking back $18 million. So, speaking of rumors and quarterbacks, I read something, and tell me, or anybody who's watching can either confirm this rumor or give me some insight. I read somewhere that Nate Sudfeld, our quarterback, who we just re-signed for like $2 million guaranteed, that there is talks that NFL execs consider him a potential starter in the future. Have you heard this? Can you confirm this?
Who was a starter?
Nate Sudfeld has starter potential in this league.
No, they don't believe that.
Okay.
They don't believe that.
I saw that.
There's no way.
We found out Nate Sudfeld is a starter, and we're just hiding some monster in the backgrounds behind Jimmy this whole time. Let me find out he's another Carson Wentz or Derek Carr or something. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what it is, but
the guy has played.
Knock it because I was like, well, maybe we gave him $2 million for a reason, but it sounded a little far fetched because the only time I've ever seen him play was in preseason.
Yeah, and I mean that's the only time he's ever played. I think. I don't think he's played in the regular season.
Never played in the regular season.
I mean, I don't know. And what I've seen in the preseason does not tell me that he's a monster. So.
Oh well, let's not make mistakes like most people do and think preseason performance. Like the preseason Hall of Famers every year. So let's not crown him Nate Davis or any of these other guys that Niner fans think just because they play well in the preseason are going to be monsters in the regular season. So okay,
for sure.
Nate Field's not really a starter in the league. All right, just making sure.
Yeah, for sure. Always Faithful said at 221 we could have taken Gene DeLance and tackle out of Florida. I haven't watched that guy, but I'll definitely check him out and see what. I'm
not familiar with him either, but his last name is DeLance, and we have just a Lance. So
hey, that might work out.
Lance blocking for a Lance. I mean, hey, I've seen weirder things.
Yeah, for sure. And then he said, he doubts that trade is going to happen. You might need to add a player or a pick to trade with Jimmy. With Jimmy,
Sunday or something, or give him a pick because at this point we're gonna have to sweeten the deal here because Jimmy is causing a lot of problems, and it's just time, man. I'm not gonna bash Jimmy. Jimmy got us to 2 NFC championships in the Super Bowl. It's unfortunate he didn't win us anything, and he's kind of strapping us on the salary cap right now. But I mean, he did some things that were really good. He brought us out of a dark time. He's the best quarterback we've had in a really long time, and people forget that because we lost the Super Bowl, and yes, he made a really dumb play that ended our season last year. But he's we loved him when we went 5-0 when he first got here, and it shows how quickly fans and the light can turn on a player. But that's. Problem is this league is all about production. It's what have you done for me lately, and what have you done for me right now? So
and I feel the same way about Jimmy. Jimmy is Jimmy, and I mean, I think we all expected him to progress in the offense, and it just never materialized.
Oh man, never.
And then he was just hurt all the time, so there was never really a chance to progress because he was just hurt. I don't think we're seeing the Jimmy that we got originally because of the injuries are just piling up on him, and I think we'll be lucky to get anything out of that deal, whatever the deal is. And they may. Do you think that they cut him if they have to?
If they they traded a 2nd round pick. I think they are waiting to get something, and if they have to package a pick with him to get a 3rd or a 4th or even a 5th. The Niners can't come out of this with nothing, in my opinion. If they just flat out release him, regardless of what you think about him, regardless of what he did, the good, bad, and the ugly, if you just flat out release him, that's basically saying you failed, you're admitting you failed, and you're getting nothing from your failure. So it would be very hard for me if I'm Kyle and John to, even if you're going to wait it out, which is fine because he's hurt and nobody wants to trade for a hurt quarterback. If you're going to wait it out, get something. It doesn't even matter if it's a 4th round pick. If you get something and then that player turns into something good, nobody's going to remember. If Trey Lance turns into what we all think he can be because of his physical talents and some of those practice videos that we saw where he's got all these wow moments, we're going to forget about that. If Trey Lance balls out, let's be honest here, folks, whoever's listening, and you, Peter, if Trey Lance balls out, no one's going to remember Jimmy. If he wins us the Super Bowl, nobody's going to care that Jimmy sucked. Nobody's going to care that Jimmy held us over the barrel because he got surgery the week before free agency.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to care about that. Winning cures everything, folks. And if Trey Lance comes in and he wins, you're never going to remember this because you're not going to want to.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, man. I agree with everything that you just said. It is what it is, and winning has always cured all. That's always been.
Man. Who doesn't love winning?
Yeah, like I mean, and you would think that it would cure all, but we won last year for the most part, and it still didn't. There was still the fan base was just divided at all times, and I wasn't upset that we were winning. Like it was just you just can't. I mean, it ran its course. Jimmy just ran his course, and and we're ready for the new chapter to begin. And I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it. I know that everybody out there is really excited for it. The national media doesn't seem to be excited for it, but who cares what they think anyway?
National media has Tom Brady coming week 1, so prepare for that, folks.
Yeah. Well, now they say he's going to Miami. Now they say he's going to Miami.
I heard that. Could you imagine? Let's talk about this for a second. I know it's totally off topic. If he goes to Miami, is that kind of I'm going to curse here. Is that kind of a fuck you to Bill Belichick? Because what if he goes to Miami and then wins that division? I mean, I know Buffalo's there too, but that would be the ultimate end of your career, like proving that not only did you win a Super Bowl without this coach, but you beat him in his own division at the end of your career. I think that would be the ultimate, like, middle finger to Bill Belichick, and also like the icing on top of the cake. But do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so. I don't know. Who knows? You know what? I didn't think Devontae Adams was going to get traded. I didn't think some of these other guys were going to get traded. So if he went to Miami at this point, this is the wildest offseason I've ever seen. So if it happened, it would just be, hey, that's just how this offseason.
Nothing shocks me at this point. Nothing shocks me at this point. And would I be shocked if it happened? No. But man, I think that putting Brady in a Mike McDaniel offense is like stealing.
Like, I mean, with that, so you hand it off to Mostert, who's like the fastest dude in the league, depending on who you talk to, and then you got to throw to the other guy who talked about to be the fastest guy in the league. Oh, and then you got Jalen Waddle, who's pretty fast himself on top of it, and then you got Chase Edmonds behind Mostert. I mean, and they still got Devontae Parker. Forget about Devontae Parker. Yeah, if he ever comes back, he's not slow either. So, and Gesicki, and they got pieces. Could they put an offensive line? But I think that is an underrated trait of Brady's that nobody ever talks about. Is that even when because when he got to Tampa Bay, their offensive line was atrocious, and he got in their behinds and like on the field in front of everybody and just shamed them into becoming good. And it was also winning. Yeah, I think that he would turn around any line that he went in back of. Who wouldn't want to block for the GOAT? Yeah, I tell you. Who wouldn't want to step their game up for that guy? But when they first started, they struggled because they were running Bruce Arians' offense, and then pretty much Tom Brady was like, "Look, man, we're gonna do what I want to do. We're gonna run this offense the way I want to run it." And as soon as Bruce Arians just said, "You know what? I'm not gonna say anything to you. You got more rings than I'll ever have. So let him run his own offense." And poof, him and Byron Leftwich ran through the league and won a Super Bowl. So hey, kudos to Byron Leftwich, by the way, for being a not so great quarterback in real life, but being a pretty amazing offensive coordinator. So true. Good for turning his career around. Maybe not on the field, but as a coach. So shout out and kudos to Byron Leftwich. Honestly, I don't know how good of a coach Byron Leftwich is. He's good at listening he's good at listening to Brady and having Brady tell him what he's gonna do and what he's not gonna do. So then maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe he's just a card holder, and Brady's just like, "No, I'm not doing that. I'm going to call my own plays. You just stand there and look pretty." So I'm really wrong. So who knows? But yes, yeah, it's. What do you think it would take to get that trade done? Well, they just traded. I believe they traded the 29th pick to the Chiefs. So I don't know if they have any first round picks. They traded the pick that we gave them for Lance in
They
this
have
year's
their.
draft.
They still have their own.
If they still have their own, I could see them possibly swapping their first. I don't know how many picks it would take. If you believe Bruce Arians, it's going to take 5 first rounders, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I mean, does Miami want to throw the rest of their draft picks, a la Mike Ditka for Ricky Williams, at Tom Brady, and just say let's go? I don't know. I doubt it. But if they still have the ammo, sure, why not? But I know they gave up 5 picks. I remember how many of those were future picks, but I know they gave up the 29th pick, which was our original pick, to the Chiefs. So if they want to just give Miami or trade Brady for a first round pick and some futures, Miami could pull it off. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that would be the 49ers would have no choice but to release Jimmy after that if that trade happened, because then Tua goes on the market, because I don't think Arians wants Tua, and then but somebody's going to take Tua.
Well, yeah, because you don't know how long you're going to sit Tua, because Brady could play till he's 50, and Tua is sitting behind him for 5 years. You never know. He only sat on for lunch. He was like, I don't want to babysit these kids.
Yeah.
I belong on the field. So if you believe anything Tom Brady says, which I'm not going to call Tom Brady a liar, because he's got
for sure.
Things. If he wants to play till 50, let him. The league's better with it.
Yeah, no, I've been a Brady fan because I'm a Michigan fan. So I love all my Michigan players, but Brady has held even though I'm a Niner fan, I've always rooted for Brady. So, and I know that might rub people the wrong way, but
You're a Michigan fan, man. That's cool. I get it.
Yeah, but man, I really appreciated having you on. I had a great time today talking to you and chopping it up and talking 49er football. Man, hopefully you come on again. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, and maybe after the draft, man. That sounds like fun.
For sure, bro. I'm all about it.
Oh, if we get Derek Deese Jr., we're definitely doing another podcast, bro.
For sure, right after, immediately after. We're going
immediately
live.
After. I will go live on every social media I have.
But yeah, tell everybody where they can get wherever you are, find you wherever you are.
So on Instagram, I'm mfinn FINN 99, and on Twitter, I'm what it says right there on the screen at Ice Cream Judas, capital I, capital C, capital J. Follow me if you don't follow me, and let's go, man. I'm really excited about this season. I can't wait for the draft and see who else we pick up.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Great. Had a great time talking, and I'm moving the show will be back next Wednesday. Moving back to Wednesdays at 6:30. Like I said, I appreciated having Mike. It was a great time, and can't wait to see you guys again. And we're going to be talking more draft stuff. I'm sure there'll be more news to go over. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. And go Niners.
Go Niners.